Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Pflugerville. And today we're talking about accepting what is as it is. Paul and I had an interesting conversation just now. And it's a very, very interesting spiritual concept that Jesus explained it in the Sermon on the Mount. When he said, "Judge not, lest you be judged." Anybody agree when things aren't going right, we judge? And it's usually our fault that we judge somebody else. Or even the planets don't align or whatever we choose to judge. And it's very, very interesting. Everything that's happened this morning has kind of put me off into some other ideas. I got the paper this morning, and here's a whole article on, you ready? Can you read that? What's it say?
The power to decide how you feel.
The power to decide how you feel. Anybody agree that is contrary to the initial intuitive guide that we were given and trained on? You have to worry because you're at the outcome of life, and you have to learn to suffer. Is that true? Don't get your hopes up, boy. Don't expect too much. Okay? And this thing goes on and talks about what we're going to talk about this morning. And Paul also brought up this morning Byron Katie, who's an example of this conversation. And in my own life, and I've seen people do this. Has anybody ever seen somebody whose life was totally overwhelming, and they reached the point where they finally just quit, stopped, and hid for a while, and then came back? That's learning to accept what is. And when Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, "Judge not, lest you be judged," the problem is when we go into what's wrong and we have something that is upsetting us, we ruminate on it. Everybody agree? Oh, it shouldn't be that way, or that jerk, or boy, I made that mistake again. Am I ever going to learn? Anybody familiar with those words? Anybody else have some other words? It's just on and on and on. The problem is, according to the law of attraction, if I continue doing that, I continue getting more. So the whole idea behind this is accept what is. And I'm way off what I was going to talk about, so we're going to stay on this. We are told that our thoughts are creative. Even the scientific community is now saying, and agreeing with, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In the quantum physics idea, we do influence outcomes. In the string theory, when it says any atom or any molecule that has been next to another one continues that relationship forever and ever. So if you stop and think about that, anybody agree when we're around people, we remember them, so we become part of who they are, their energetic field. And so our energetic field interacts with all the energetic fields around us. So if our energetic field is radiating, we are experiencing what we're radiating. Okay? So if I continue to ruminate, continue to be upset, what am I continuing to create in my life and maybe even the lives of people around us? Now, we all have emotional upsets, agree? I don't care who you are, where you are, even if you learn to walk on water, I imagine. Don't know, but I imagine. Sooner or later, something happens. And when it happens, the idea behind it is to accept it as it is. Because the first time something happens, it's saying we immediately go into victim. Okay? And I'm talking about myself, not about you. But I know that maybe some of us are the same way. And when an event happens, we start thinking, oh, it shouldn't have happened. And we stay in it. And really, this really have been thinking about this. And see, here's things that Jesus was talking about. 2,000, by the way, it's 2,203 years since he spoke these things. And here we are coming up today with modern psychology telling us the same thing. This article that I ran into here, this is the power. This is the power to decide how you feel. Would you agree that's a crazy statement for most people in the world? What do you mean? It happened to me and I don't like it. And see, the key to it is I can learn to accept it just because it happened. Now the question is, can I change what happened? Somebody help me. No. The only thing I can do is change how I think about it. And as I think about it, I create the change. So, if I stay in upset, can I affect change? The answer is no. Because I continue to create what I didn't want. So here we are, and this is this is a new book. This is what this is being featured here. And this new book is written by somebody, what's her name? Oh, Oprah. And a famous psychologist doctor. Okay? And it's simply a key to life, creating change. Now, anybody agree? Everybody is worried about world peace. So if world peace is to happen, according to this theory, what do we have to do?
Be peaceful.
Say it again.
Be peaceful.
Be peaceful. Accept things the way they are. It might even mean we have to allow people to think the way they think. And go, okay, and let it go. That's a big step. And that's a step that is totally counterintuitive to the way we're trained. Okay? Now, what's interesting is, and I am going to go into the Bible, and I'm going to go into Matthew 5 and Matthew 6. And because Jesus had so many good lessons in his whole conversation that are part of what we're talking about today. And Matthew 7 is where he was talking about some of this. So Matthew 7:1 is, judge not lest you be judged. Okay? Then he goes on and says, why do you see the splinter in which your brother's eye and do not feel the beam which is in your own eye? So if you're seeing something, you are experiencing, that's part of who you are. So I wouldn't see something unless I had it in my consciousness. So as a human being, we are living in our own consciousness. So as a created being, we are creating the world we live in, which is totally counterintuitive because we want to blame everybody else. You did it to me, my spouse did it to me, that neighbor, all those kind of blame situations. And then he goes on and say, do not give holy things to the dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine, for they might tread them with their feet and then turn and rend you. Now, you have to understand the context. And what it meant was give pearls to swine. Anybody agree pearl is a valuable thing? And it's based on calcium and minerals put together. And guess what swine eat and love? Calcium. So the pearl is simply something for them to eat. So the metaphor he's using here is you can't give something extremely valuable to an animal that doesn't understand it. Because all they'll do is take it in, eat it, and complain about it. Now, is that, and this whole idea, what do you mean? I have to accept it. People get angry. As a matter of fact, I don't like it. If I have something I don't like, and I'm supposed to accept it, agree, that's a normal human reaction. So this whole key to giving it up and moving forward. I realized this week, frankly, and I'll be open with you, that I have been ruminating on a new place, on a new church home, on new people. Guess what? We have to accept it the way it is. Now, we had something, Tommy looked at something yesterday, but you never know what's going to come out of that. But it's kind of like, how do you let go and accept things the way they are? So that's an open-ended question. And how do you do that? Change the thought. And how do you change the thought? Anybody want to pontificate?
Choose the right thought.
Choose the right thought. What is the right thought?
God.
Madeline's shaking her head, look at her over here.
I said,
Yeah, what is the right thought? God? What is God?
You and me.
What?
You and me.
Us, yeah. It's the universal spirit within us. But see, the world is like, it's interesting to me. Think God thoughts. Anybody agree that we have so many different interpretations of God and what God is, and who God is, where God is? And most of those interpretations are not that God is good. So it's up to me to change my context. It's up to me to not continue throwing my pearls to swine. Yes?
But you're not going to accept everything that you hear. You're going to pick and choose of what
Pick and choose,
of what you're coming at you.
but still accepting what is done.
Right, but I mean, just like this service here. I may not like everything in this service,
I have to accept it.
but I accept it as, part of the service.
Yeah. And see, the idea behind it is we are created beings. Every entity that's conscious being here is a created being. Created in the image and the likeness, created in the human. So we are all creating our own environment. And we are co-creating what we experience here today. And what we experience is, this is what is. If that makes any sense. And I'm aware now that in me making it wrong, in other words, there's something wrong with Robert. His message isn't good enough to attract people from outside. Okay? And if I accept that, that continues that way. And so I'm saying that's only to get through to it, do we make our lives long if it's not working exactly the way we think it should. And things occur, things change, life grows. Thomas Troward is one of the great thinkers in England. As a matter of fact, he was a judge in India. One of his major comments that I remember is, Spirit of God is always for growth and expansion. So how does growth and expansion work? Well, things have to change. Agree? And if I'm growing and expanding, I have to leave things behind me. Well, what is my nature? My nature is to hang on. If you're like me, a lot of us have something that we're still hanging on to memorabilia. Yes? Why do we create pictures so much so we remember the past? Paul, you're going to talk.
Well, I just wanted to, kind of in response to Tommy, but also tie into what you're saying, Robert. I don't know that it's always acceptance as much as curiosity. Could there be some element of this that is valid, is worthy, is outside of what I know? Could I be open that there might even be another option out there somewhere?
See, things are changing, right? It's like right now, I'll give you an example, electric vehicles, anybody agree? Where are we going? What am I going to have to do? Okay, one of the questions I have is how long am I going to hang on to this gas engine car? Everybody's thinking about that possibility. Some of us like it, some of us don't. Doesn't matter. And the idea is, okay, this is a trend that's happening. Valid.
So, and Paul just made me think of something, in that curiosity, what is the message for me in this? What do I need to learn from this? And the other big piece is letting go of worry.
I'm going to count someday how many times the Bible says, do not worry. Okay? And see, this is part of the conversation. It really is an important part to understand how much we worry, how much we take things personally, and how much we are creating our own world. Now, let's look at the Lord's Prayer. Give us this, what does it say? Give me this day. Okay? how does that come to you? So we are asking. We're asking for guidance. We're asking for forgiveness. If I'm doing something wrong and I'm not aware of it, how do I become aware of it and my prayer is answered? I've got to get a lesson. See, if I am an individual that is battling through life, let's say being rude to everybody in my life, how is something going to wake me up? I'm going to have to get something in my life that says, Robert, stop. And it's back to the curiosity. What is the lesson I'm learning?
Okay, the thing about curiosity, though, it takes us down the rabbit hole of figuring things out.
Amen.
And curiosity is high. I mean, it's really good on the totem pole, but it just goes down the rabbit hole.
You look rather passionate with that.
I am.
See, again, we're going back to what is acceptance. Okay, now curiosity starts me thinking about it, but it's an acceptance. Okay, I can't change it. And we're talking about a huge spiritual idea. We really are. This is not a small issue. And if Jesus brought it up here, okay, it's a lesson for us. Now, it's like I go into different things. Anybody here ever sweated it out before something happened? Okay.
Never.
Okay, and we're right back to life. Okay, why? Why do we do that? Because we don't trust and we doubt the outcome. And we're praying. Every day we pray the Lord's Prayer. You know, we're saying, this is what I want. But then we go, oh my God, what happens if it doesn't? So it's learning to, we're right back to, curiosity is part of it, I agree. Okay. However, I need to accept the outcome no matter what it looks like. Because until I complete it and accept it, what change can I make? Because I'm still living in the old stuff, yes.
I think one of the gifts about curiosity is that to be curious, you're having an open mind.
Yes.
So you're not relying on, you know, you always say, we don't know what we don't know, right?
I'm giving me my own words back.
But we don't, how are we going to know if we don't listen and pay attention and having an open mind and having curiosity puts you in that frame of mind of you're not an ego and you're in spirit. You're saying, hey, I'm open to getting the information that I need, and I know it's not going to come from my brain.
It's the difference between being offense, defense, and neutral. Curiosity doesn't mean you have to figure it out. It just means, could you be in a neutral posture that there could be some other option? It doesn't mean you have to figure the option out, even though our brain wants to. But
Being open is a state of curiosity and willingness to look for something new. I'm going to read something. By the way, this is a new book, The Age of the Heart. This is more talk about the heart. And it says, it is one thing to have a worldview in which you conceive of yourself as a body, adrift in a fearful and dangerous world, and an altogether different one to know yourself as the well-loved daughter or son of a mother, father, God, of infinite love and limitless power, whose only will is that you be eternally happy. Stop and think about that statement. That's the issue. Okay, who are you? Who am I? And if I really believe, okay, that I am the well-loved daughter or son of an all-beloved God, how would I act? What would I accept? And that's why I use the phrase, oh my goodness, look at that. I've just learned a lesson, I'm going to change. And accept it. And it's totally contrary to what we've been trained as a human being. We are trained to fight back no matter what. And I know you want to disagree with me, but I disagree with you too. But I can't change. I can't change the fact that I have a daughter that lives in Phoenix and we don't get to see her. Okay? Is that a possibility? Yeah, we can fly her in once in a while. Once in a while. But you see, we make all these things upset to us and there's nothing we can do. So we keep ruminating over it. And I'm going to say, God has made you heir to the honor and glory of God. From one view emerges a world of struggle, competition, and survival, a world without mercy. This is the world we have created consciously. From the other, a world in which God is praised in the eternal reality of love, not as a belief, but as a living expression what is dictated by a heart united in holiness. Okay? So, and I admit I'm jumping way out. Okay, and this is kind of information that just came through in the last year. So it's a very, very interesting conversation. And it's really on my heart because I have made myself wrong. Okay? And I'm realizing that that's the trap that I'm in when I can't let it go. So letting it go means accepting what is. And the first reaction is, I can't accept all that stuff. How can I accept where I've been? How can I accept this or how can I accept that? Anybody want to make up something you can't accept? Good. You stop and think about it. Some of you have been through, you're going through a death issue, health, okay? Again, those are things to accept. And I can say, I don't like it. It hurts. It's not fair. But there's still an acceptance. Anybody know the 5 keys to trauma? First thing is denial. It didn't happen. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go any further than that. So our immediate reaction is it's not fair. It shouldn't be. And how I get past it is to make it okay and accept it eventually. And just know that I'm grieving. Know that I'm upset. And it's okay because I can decide how I feel. Okay, and this was something Jesus talked about 2,000 years ago. And we are a Christian group. And the question is, do we believe what he said? That's why I say when people ask me, do you believe in Jesus? Yes. And I believe in what he said. So this is not an easy subject, but this is one that I've had to release. Excuse me, I'm having to release. Because it's difficult when somebody says you have to accept that crap that I really don't want. But until I accept it, can I change it? Realistically. Nobody's answering me. Yes.
Well, intuitively,
Really?
it's about what you're focusing on, right? I mean,
What?
so if you're focusing on crap,
Yep.
then you're missing out on all the blessings. It's like, don't spend your time focusing on the crap.
Yeah.
Put your focus on God and the good in your life and the things that you're grateful for.
Good.
And the things that you can control and the things that you can affect.
And you didn't say the outcome, so she's saying the outcome.
So we're right back to the conversation. How do I do that? I change my thought. How do I change my thought?
By choosing. By
Okay.
choosing to think differently.
And I'm a little bit behind the times. How do I change my thought? See, we get caught in this conversation. Okay, and when I get really down to it, how do I let it go?
By practicing.
Practicing what?
Love.
And see that, and the minute I start talking about love, I'm talking about making it okay or accepting. And I accept it as a lesson, as something I can accept it. Tommy's point is I can accept it and still not like it.
Okay, and the outcome of accepting it.
Is peace.
It goes away, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
See,
And more miracles can happen in your life.
oversoul, the overself, the energy that is everything, is always perfect. Because God created everything. See, you got to look at it logically. So everything is always perfect. So how come it ain't? Because human beings have gotten involved in it and are trying to run the outcome. So I want this. And if this doesn't happen, I'm upset. Okay? So the only way I can say is, okay, now let go. And these are not easy things. They are not. This is why this is a deep, deep spiritual. It's why people like Byron Katie can write books about being an alcoholic and being down in the dumps and learning to, the first thing she did was accept she's an alcoholic. Okay, and then she was able to change after she accepted. See, the problem is we can't believe what it takes. And it's not, that's why I've heard over and over again, it's so easy, it's so simple to just make a choice. And I get tired of it when I hear somebody tell me that. But that's what it is. I accept it. See, you're not accepting it.
But then you have to go back and do it again and again and again and again. It takes perseverance sometimes.
What would happen if you really accepted it, though?
You go away.
See, I can't change it. You know, I bring this up a lot. Why am I doing it? How did I wind up in Austin? Okay, if you really stop and think about it, we have been all over the place, and all of a sudden we're here. And it looks like we're going to be here for a while. Okay?
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and I love it. But how come? And I can try to figure that out. The truth is, it doesn't matter. Accept it, because I'm here. And once, you know, and I'm using it as an example of use that terminology. But it's like, I shouldn't have to worry about my weight. I still have a tire, okay? That's a typical example. So all I have to do is accept that I eat too much. So and this is a big, big issue, and the world is all wrapped around this. And it's counterintuitive to what we're trained to do. And I don't know why I have no idea why I'm going into this depth. Probably because I got the newspaper this morning. Paul wrote up Byron Casey. Everything that happened this morning. Okay? RJ had a party last night for his dog, if you don't mind me sharing, because the dog is going on to the other side. Okay? And I felt regret that I wasn't there. Now, can I change that? No, I didn't go. Now, we had other things, etc. But the truth is, I had to accept the fact that I missed a chance to be with RJ and Jessica during an important period of time. Okay, can I change that? No. And are there feelings there? I'm sure there are. I'm positive they are. Okay, and can I accept that? Certainly. Okay. So I'm really trying to get down to the gut level on this issue, because there are so many things we have to forgive, and forgiveness is really just accepting it and in love. Paul.
I'm taking stock of what's going on inside of me as you're talking this.
It's interesting.
And I'm realizing that the NLP, the language of this, keeps getting stuck in me, and I'm like, it's the difference for me of accept versus acknowledge. Even like as soon as you're saying accept, if I replace the word acknowledge, my body is at total ease with that concept. Accept makes it feel like I'm having to agree
with
or affirm it, as opposed to just it's benign, it's there, it is what it is.
Yeah, affirm is.
So that's a piece that I'm hitting right now when you're speaking.
Acknowledge. It's interesting. If we confess our sins, He's grateful and just to forgive us our sins. So when we actually talk about it, it's okay. Anybody else want to interact? I think you've got to understand there's an energy here. Okay? And I'm hoping hoping the energy breaks through to the other side. Because we're dealing with some heavy stuff. There's also an energy that wants to keep this group where we don't want too many outsiders because this is a good group. Hello? Okay. I've had to accept that. I am honestly looking at what's going on. Okay? Where we're going, what are we doing, and why are we here? And what are we doing and where are we going? Folks, you understand this message. The messenger doesn't matter, it's the message. And you are the message. And anybody agree today that this is the message that's necessary out there? We got a world in turmoil. We got people actually hating their neighbors just because of color, skin, or whatever. Okay? So the truth is, we need to be in this together. We need to accept the differences and bring that forth into the world peace. So you're on the leading edge of this whole conversation. I told Kathleen that this morning, right? But you are. You are creating a new language. And it's not comfortable. Everybody's looking for joy. Joy and peace occurs when I'm happy with myself. So what is the word joy? Everybody agree? It's almost like the word joy is outside of my experience.
We don't have to accept politics though, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There's people that want to run things and there's people that want our sovereign belief. Okay? And that's a natural clash that's going to occur. Okay? It's there. It's not going to go away. That was uncomfortable, wasn't it?
What? Oh, that's something that I haven't given up.
You see the tilt of her head, it's kind of, don't dare say anything else.
She's pulling out the sword in a second.
That's definitely an OP body name. Oh, I need to stop. The kingdom of heaven is within. Everything in our life we have created. That's the basic issue. Okay, and we can't relate to that. And the creations that we make, if we like them, we have to foster them and keep them around so we're comfortable. We can't let them go on to something else. And so we're creating a new world, and the new world is growing and expanding, and we're just sitting around watching it occur. That's our job. Yes.
I found that I can have acceptance when I look at someone and go, that's your path. That's what you need to learn and you need to experience.
Yeah.
So that way I can let go of my preconceptions and allow them to be and do whatever they need to be.
Preconceptions is, see, I make up a story about what they should be. Thank you. Well, thank you for this comment. Anybody else want to? You got to get involved in this conversation. You're all part of it. Sure.
Can I just share something that came in a daily mantra that I get?
Yes.
This is from Abraham Hicks.
Abraham Hicks.
We would like you to release the word achieve or earn from your vocabulary and from your understanding altogether. And we would like you to replace those words with the word allow. And that's the word that for me, it's less about accept and more about allow.
It's close to accept.
You're wanting to allow your well-being, not achieve it. It's not something you need to earn. All you have to do is decide what it is you would like to experience and then allow it in order to achieve it. It isn't something you have to struggle for or try for. You are all worthy beings. You are deserving of this well-being.
Allow it. See, the key is it's all there for us. Now, Abraham Hicks talks about the vortex, and everything's in a vortex here waiting for you to allow it in. And once you allow it in, which means
Divine order. Vortex,
Yeah.
divine order.
And the idea is once you give up your preconceived notion and accept it, this can be taken. By the way, we have probably 20 or 30 of her videos if you want to borrow. So, you're still thinking.
No, you're just bringing up all my stuff.
Stir in the pot.
I haven't called that the line of upstern. The truth is, I just want me to really get it. I want you to do the attorney with me. Because, you know, we're all struggling. We're all just trying to get by. We all have issues. We all have family that is over here. We all have these different things. And we're right back to change, I can change how I feel. And once I change how I feel, I allow Spirit to take over in my life. Okay, so thank you. These are the conversations I love, so I will end it. Anybody have anything else? Madeline's telling me to shut up and sit down.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. Is that going to be on YouTube?
Yes.
I need to look at myself. I have no idea what comes out.